Hello and welcome to the news in virtual reality. This is Studio A at New Broadcasting House. Behind me, the multimedia newsroom. It's a set which will be familiar to all those who watch the BBC's news programmes right around the world. But all is not as it seems. Because Studio A is a virtual studio. This desk is real, but nothing else is. It's not just a news studio, it can be anything you want it to be. It could be the location for a discussion programme. It could be a set which enables an individual reporter to tell his or her story more effectively. And all of that is conjured up by the technology which is around and above me. Well, Jonathan Spencer, you're the creative director for this whole VR project. Actually, before we start, this is pretty boring, so let's whistle up one of your creations. Can we do that? Oh, look at that. We're in a warehouse. Perfect. How are we doing it?
Well, it's really a question of synchronising the live shots of us with a virtual environment, a virtual studio. And the key for that is the studio cameras. It's knowing where the studio cameras are in the real studio and matching them to a virtual camera in a virtual studio.
Right, so let me just get this clear. We've got a physical studio, we're standing in it, and in a parallel universe, as it were, there's an identical copy of this studio on a computer, effectively, and the cameras, virtual and real, are moving synchronously.
Absolutely, but of course it doesn't have to be an exact copy of it. It could be a warehouse, it could be outer space, it could be the bottom of the sea, it could be any environment that a correspondent would want to tell a story in and be in that environment.
I'm going to get you to show that off in a minute, but tell me about how you track these cameras.
Okay, the studio cameras have a Christmas tree on them, and each Christmas tree has a unique combination of highly reflective dots. Those dots are watched by 24 Raptor cameras that you can see around the studio roof, and we can tell where each camera is because of its unique
So as the real cameras move around, your virtual cameras in your virtual studio are moving exactly the same time, exactly the same place, exactly the same time.
They're slave to them, as is the lens data that we collect.
So the scenery will move with them.
Absolutely, and it's very simple. That's how virtual studios work. Real camera moves, virtual camera in a virtual world moves with it, and we're seamlessly together with an environment that doesn't exist.
Well, we're in an environment here where we've even got reflective puddles on the floor, reflections of the lights in the ceiling. I mean, the possibilities are endless, aren't they? I mean, where does one go with this sort of technology?
Well, how far can your imagination take you? I mean, there is a sense about the plausibility of any space you put somebody in, and I think it's very important that the audiences know when we're in a virtual environment and when we're in a real environment, and it's getting much easier to make a space that is completely believable.
OK, I think we've been in the warehouse long enough. You've mentioned the undersea set, so let's bring that up now. Bit of click of the fingers, and there it is. So what was this for?
Well, this was for a piece about deep-sea mining and mining the vents at the bottom of the ocean for our science correspondent, David Shookman.
And what's different here is that you've actually got a vent in the foreground here, so you can build different elements of the set on top of what we had around us before.
Oh, absolutely. We can do force keying, we can put stuff in front of the presenter, and we can put things behind.
And all the time, your virtual cameras are moving as if we were moving amongst these objects.
Absolutely. That's what brings these sets to life, is the ability to move the camera and have everything track in a believable, real way.
I find it really hard to get my head around it, and I suspect we're only at the beginning of this technology. Where could we go from here?
Well, we could go to the edge of the solar system. In fact, we're working on a piece about when Voyager leaves the solar system, which is again another science piece. But it can go, well, it can go anywhere you want it to go.
But it's so flexible. I mean, you compared lorry loads of scenery with the way you do it. It's a light years away, isn't it?
Absolutely. No more warehouses for storage. Now we use a simple memory stick.
How many sets could you have on there?
About 20. It's crazy, isn't it, really?
Jonathan, it's fascinating to talk to you, and astonishing future, I think, lies ahead. So, as I say, many thanks indeed. And I think that's it from Studio A, probably before Jonathan and I run out of air.